Here commences the Whitby Ghost vlog. Behind me we have Bagdale Hall. There's a bloody car! I'm trying to do it somewhere where there's no bloody cars. Anyway, Brown Bushell was the original owner, and it is a Tudor building, and it is reported to be the oldest building in Whitby. Brown Bushell, who originally owned it in the 1500s, was executed on charges of piracy, but it's said that after he was executed he returned to the hall, and ghostly footsteps can often be heard up and down the stairs, poltergeist activity occurs, a strange shape appears on the staircase, and so Brown Bushell came back to claim his house. So that's your first story on the Whitby Ghost Hunt. More later. So another part of the ghostly stories of Whitby, what we have here just off the high street is Great Plain. And Great Plain, wow, look at that lovely old lamp up there. Great Plain was the scene of the death of Mary Clark. And Mary Clark was a young girl who used to come down in the, I think it was 1800s, to her father's bakery and bring him his lunch. And it's said that one day she came down to bring her father his lunch and heat it up in the ovens. He turned his back on her. Ooh, lovely shot. He turned his back on her and her hair caught alight in the oven, and she went racing out. He tried to douse the flames but failed, and by the time she got to hospital she was dead. So that's Great Plain in Whitby, the ghostly haunting apparently of Mary Clark, who was seen to run down this street with flames around her on occasion. Although if anyone spotted her, do let me know, because I'm not seeing her yet. So we are carrying on our ghost hunt. As you can see down there, that is Whitby. And we've just started our climb up the 199 steps, which will take us up there to St Mary's Church, and beyond that Whitby Abbey. But quite an amazing spot. We're only 30 steps up, we've got a long way to go. But that's looking out to the harbour. Look at these little cottages. And when we get to the top, I will have many ghost stories for you. But we have to go up the 199 steps, which used to be used to carry coffins. That'd be a hell of a walk, carrying a coffin on your shoulders. Anyway, more ghost stories at the top. So made it to the top of the 199 steps to St Mary's Chapel. And I have another ghost story for you. There was a prominent gentleman and his family that used to live here in Victorian times called John Wesley. And John Wesley and his family believed they had a ghost in their home, who they even used to set a place at the dinner table for. And it's said that when John Wesley died, the ghost became so traumatised that it would go to all the places that it knew John Wesley would be at. Yes, you're not the ghost, thank you. And one of the places is the chapel here at St Mary's, where apparently the ghost stands at the doorway and tries to persuade people to go in. I don't think what we just saw was the ghost of the John Wesley family. But hey, haven't seen it yet. We'll have a look around. And then the Abbey. And here we finally are at the glorious Whitby Abbey, up on the top of the hill on a really spooky looking day. It's really misty out there. Anyway, the origins of this place, it's been built, rebuilt, knocked down and goodness knows what, but it was originally built in the 600s, partly by a lady who was known as Hild. I think it was from Denmark or somewhere around there. I really should have researched the Spanish, shouldn't I? Anyway, she was partly responsible for the building of it, and at some point in the 9th century it was abandoned, and then it was split, and some worshippers in the new part stayed here and the rest went over that way where there's the church that I showed you before, and worship was split between the two. And then it was completely rebuilt somewhere around the 13th century, They carried on building into the 1500s until Henry VIII decided it had to go and ripped the roof off and demolished parts of it. So it's like this because of Henry the Bloody Eighth. Git. Anyway, apparently Hild, who was involved in the construction originally back in the 600s, died in 680. And up at the top there, you see those windows. She was made a saint after her death and is supposedly spotted up at the top windows, keeping an eye on her abbey. Anyone see her? Anyone see her? Is that her? No? Okay. Well, anyway, I'm going to go inside and have a wander around now. It's gorgeous, isn't it? Gorgeous up here on top of this hill. Look, nothing all the way around there, all the way down to the town. That's the museum over there, which is really cool. It's full of fossils and things. Anyway, I'm going in for a walk around. Wow, this place is impressive. It is absolutely stunning. And while I'm walking through and looking at these walls, I will tell you another ghostly tale. It's a very sad ghostly tale, actually. It's the tale of Constance de Beverley, who was apparently a nun here at the Abbey, who fell in love with a handsome knight and broke her vow of chastity. And as a punishment for that, they bricked her up inside the walls alive. And apparently you can hear her sometimes scratching on the walls and screaming to be let out. It's another ghost of Whitby Abbey. It really is the most stunning place. Absolutely jaw-dropping. Check that out. Wow. One last ghostly tale from St Mary's in Whitby. There are stories that the bar guest coach comes through here at night, and the bar guest coach is a haunted coach with skeletal riders that apparently, when sailors aren't buried at sea and they're buried on dry land, their souls don't rest. And this coach comes up to the ground where the sailors are buried, collects their souls, and then heads off down the 199 steps to deposit them at sea so they can be at rest. Ooh. Okay, I'm back with another Whitby spooky story. Here we have the White Horse and Griffin pub along the high street, or one of the many high streets, and the story keeps that sign above the door, good stabling. There's a story that in the 19th century there was a really mean landlady that ran this pub, and apparently she would decide when you walked in if she liked you or not, and she was a really horrible woman and nobody liked her. And one day she was walking down the steps outside, down the back, slipped, cracked her head open and bled to death, alone in death as she was in life, they said. And they say her ghost haunts the White Horse and Griffin and makes you feel very uncomfortable and as though you wish to leave. I'm off.